back to the future, everybody. It is the Frack the Canon crew back again. This time we're talking about gaming. We only did like kind of like one-ish episode of gaming before, but you know what I mean. We like movies. We like all things under the nerd umbrella. So this is the last time we did more trailer reacts of like E3, E3 previews and all that. So this time, I kind of want to start off by introducing you guys to our love of games. On a personal level, so you guys know like what what we like about games, so whether if you vibe with us or not, or what have you. So I'll start off with my gamer profile, as it were. But let me back up a little bit. I'm too rigid. I haven't said hi to the fellas. What's up? What's up, fellas? I'm here joined by when you're in trouble you call TW, Tyler Weist.
Howdy doody.
What's up? And I'm joined by Mr. Ken Dog himself.
Oh, how's it going, boys?
All right, so now that I got my rude self out of the way, let me introduce you to my gamer profile. That is, I play primarily on Xbox. I'm an Xbox gamer. I do own a Switch, and I do own a PS4. It's currently collecting dust because I only use it to play Spider-Man PS4. But I primarily play on Xbox. I enjoy usually RPGs or like fighting games typically. I get down on some first-person shooters, but usually only if like a group of friends are getting on. And my favorite franchise is Marvel vs. Capcom. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is my favorite game of all time. It's a close second with Smash Brothers Series 2. But I'm going to push that question over to Mr. Tyler Weist. Mr. Tyler Weist, what are your owned or used platforms currently? What is your typical genre of play? And what is your favorite franchise?
Lots of questions. Currently I'm playing Xbox a lot. Gamer tag is for the crew. IZ the number 4 KR3W. And primarily I play shooters all the way back to Counter-Strike CS5, and I still fire up the PC sometimes to play with people I used to play with back in '98. But lately the 3 games I've been playing most have been I've been trying to get through the Doom campaign, Doom Eternal, and I'm playing on like hard, so it's been a challenge. I've been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and my secondary genre of games is fighting games, and I've played 20,000 matches in Dragon Ball Fighters. I'm in the top 2,000 of Dragon Ball Fighters players in Xbox.
Nice.
All
right, I'm gonna pose the same question to Kenny. Owned or used platforms, typical genre of play, and favorite franchise.
So currently I'm mostly on the PS5. I'm one of the lucky few I managed to snag one. Upgraded from the PS4. Before that I have a Switch as well, but before that I was a big Xbox gamer. The reason for the Switch, or not Nintendo Switch, but the Switch from Xbox to PlayStation was my favorite franchise without a doubt is Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts had no sign of being released on anything else. I bought a PS3 because of Kingdom Hearts 3 speculation. That didn't happen. Bought a PS4 because of Kingdom Hearts 3 speculation. Luckily, that happened at the end of its life cycle. Bought a PS5 because it's what I'm used to now. And like, while I miss playing Halo a lot, there's no exclusives on Xbox that I'm so convinced that I need to go back to that platform. The Nintendo Switch, Nintendo's always going to have its exclusives that are enjoyable. So for like my primary games that I play, go like Final Fantasy, RPG style. Final Fantasy VII Intergrade on the PS5 was what I just finished. I sat down and sunk another 50-ish hours into that game. After that, I've been playing on the Nintendo Switch some of the Tetris and Pac-Man Battle Royale game that they have. It's free to play if you have their Nintendo Online. And then after that, I Call of Duty Modern Warfare, some like Warzone, but that is so plagued with hackers right now. Mostly just playing like the multiplayer.
Right on. Well, you actually both kind of like went into like the second question I was gonna have, which is, what have you been playing recently? So I will just wrap that around and do mine since you guys took care of that already. I've been playing this game called Darkest Dungeon. It's been out. It's like kind of an indie-ish game. It's been out for a while, but I just started playing it. I don't think it was on Xbox Game Pass for that long. So when it did, I just kind of been really wrapped into it. It's just kind of like a, I don't know, like a RPG roguelike management sim, like turn-based dungeon crawler. It's got a lot of elements to it, and it's kind of addictive to play. Also, it has permadeath, and it's really hard. But that, and I've been playing a little bit of Wasteland 3 as well. I like get in and out of that, fall in and out of that game. Like I really like it, but it's actually it's kind of a slow game too, like mechanically too. Like so, I gotta be in a real mood to like want to go back and play it. All right, so now that we got our gamer profiles out of the way, I thought it'd be interesting to, since we're nerding out about all things gaming here, I wanted to kind of like get into the fall lineup. It's a couple months after E3. We've also had a PlayStation State of Play. We've also had EA Live. A lot of the big companies have come out and announced what's coming out this fall, what's coming out this year, what is to be expected this holiday season. So I thought, what a perfect time to get together and talk about what we might be the most excited about this holiday season. I'll start the bidding here. One thing I'm really interested in, there are enough games coming out that it's like, and it has me like, I don't know what I'm gonna get, right? Like I don't know how much money I want to spend this holiday right now. You know what I mean? I'm very interested in the Guardians of the Galaxy game. We can start there. I'm very interested in the Guardians of the Galaxy game. And I think when we were doing a reaction, I can't remember if it was a podcast I was listening to or if it was Kenny who was saying like, if this is if it's a 9 out of a 10, it'll be awesome. But if this is like a 6 out of 10, it'll it'll be memorable in like sort of a bad way.
I don't know if those are my exact words, but I do honestly connect to that sentiment. Like if it is a 9 out of 10, like it'll be a fantastic game. I recall watching the video, and like the gameplay style is very similar to a game that I mentioned earlier, Final Fantasy Remake. The way that the battle system kind of operated from what we could tell in the trailer, if it's like that, then my only question becomes like, how well is the story and how are the jokes? That is a game that is on my list of like to watch out for.
Yeah, because one of the things specifically like that I think about, I think that's really interesting about it is it seems like there's the story mechanics where there are different choices, and the story might veer a different way if you make this choice versus like some other choice, right? Like, and that seems really interesting if it's to the level of like a Telltale game, right? Like, like Walking Dead or their Guardians of the Galaxy game even, right?
You want your choices to matter. Like if it branches and then comes back to the same point, it doesn't matter if you said yes or no. Then like it kind of feels like, well, then just like, why am I clicking yes or no? Like we can just we can skip past that. Like I want my choices to really matter, basically, right?
Exactly, because what I was kind of alluding to is like I've seen the good version of that. I've seen the bad version of that. Good versions like Telltale, good versions like Mass Effect.
I was gonna say Mass Effect, yeah.
Right, but then I've seen bad versions like of that, like Spider-Man: Web of Shadows, a game I love, by the way. But like the way they implement the choices,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like it's not really a choice. Or even like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, right? Another game that I love, but they do the same thing. You get to like choose things, but it doesn't really matter. You're just like just kind of getting through a cutscene. Tyler, any thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, I watched the trailer. I like the roster, and I like how it's more than just like the movie characters. Like you'll be meeting more characters from the comics and stuff. Um, from the trailer, it's kind of hard to tell like what else they're bringing to the game, for mechanics and stuff. So I'm very intrigued for this conversation. I'm definitely gonna look into this game more.
No, for sure. All right, I'm gonna kick it to Ken Dog this time. Give me something that you're interested in this fall, man.
The biggest thing I'm interested in, video game wise, is the Steam Deck. I saw something online that said it basically compared the Wii U to what we got with the Switch. It was like we had to start here to get here. And so and then in that same panel, it said, what was it? The NVIDIA, I can't remember the name console. It failed so bad, but NVIDIA basically tried like a video game console like a year or two ago, and it didn't do too well. But if we had to start there to get to what the Steam Deck can be, which is basically a portable like PC that you can play almost any Steam game on, then I'm pretty excited for that, especially around that price tag that it last I looked, I think that they were speculating between like $500-$600 price range. It's pretty good for a handheld PC. You can play Steam games. Steam's catalog is very expansive and is always going to continue to expand. So that is like where, like, if I only had so much money to spend this holiday season, that's kind of where my focus is. As far as video game wise, like there's still nothing that I've seen that I'm so absolutely sold on that I'm like, take my money right now. There's a couple of good games that look like they're coming out, and I'm like, I'm hesitant and reserving for, or reserving my.
Hold on. Let's put a pin in the let's hang out on the Steam thing for a second.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
All right. Let's hang out on the Steam thing. Yeah, I think what you're saying is right. Like if I didn't have anything else, I'd be very interested. If I didn't already have a Switch, number one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'd be very interested in Steam and what it was, because I'm not a big PC gamer. I never have been. I do play some PC games, and I do play some on my PC. You know what I mean? But it's never been. I've never went out and bought or built or a gaming PC or a gaming rig.
Yeah,
So
I did once, and it was such a big investment that if you don't continue to maintain the, like, you know, like the next graphics card or whatever to build your PC to the next game that's coming out, it's kind of like a daunting task. So like for them to like create a console to allow you to just game on is like pretty opening to the market, right? Like a lot of people who wouldn't consider themselves like PC gamers are now given kind of an option to be that through this like handheld system.
exactly.
Question.
Yeah.
Is this cross-platform? You're playing on your handheld. Can you play other PC players?
Well, as I understand it, it is a PC. It is a PC, just like because you can dock it too. You can dock it, and then it becomes like a desktop kind of affair. You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen like videos of that done, but yeah, like it like I find it very interesting. Like because it's like $400, $500 to $600. Essentially, you get a gaming PC that you don't have to worry about like really building one. You know what I mean? And you spend twice that to build one, like, you know, like Kenny was saying. But here's a way that you can kind of really get into like PC gaming. Here's just like a little way into PC gaming. You know what I mean? A little window.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I mean, it sounds cool. It sounds awesome. This fall, am I gonna be getting it? Am I pre-ordering it? Probably not. And the probably not is because I have a Switch, and does similar things for me. You know what I mean? If I didn't have a Switch, if Switch didn't exist, I'd probably be very interested in getting that, you know. But
It's funny you say that because like my reason for like not like jumping on board and getting it is like I have a PC. It can like it already does that.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping this is successful because that would be awesome. Get more people playing. But I fear that both of those obstacles are major things as to why people wouldn't get it. If this was like more like $300 or $400, this is just me being like hyper prudent, but like I'd be like, you know, with wife's permission, obviously, in line to get it.
I think that people, when they first speculated, or when it was first announced, they kind of seemed like it would be in the market with the Switch. The thing about the Switch is like Nintendo is always going to have its exclusives. Like those games are never going to go to PC. But like if you're telling me that for $500, $600, I can have something that plays Halo and even at a bare minimum of like 1080p, like I'm down for that, because it's not just Halo that I can get through like Steam or Microsoft or any of the marketplaces, because I imagine that those will eventually come to this console. But like I can play Half-Life in some variety, or I can play I mean, all of the Final Fantasy catalog is actively being remade for, or not remade. It's a weird, without getting into it too much, it's like reported. They like lost the original code, but are like building it in like this new form of pixel to come to PC, and like there's no sign that that's going to go to anywhere else. And so like those are things that like I would buy day one if I had this thing. That said, I'm not going to pre-order it. I'm not going to go out of my way to try and get one. If I get lucky enough and have the income at the time, like I'm all on board for it. But from what I've seen so far, it seems pretty competitive to like a PC rig. I don't know that it'll process as fast, and I'm sure that it'll have a bunch of glitches and bugs in the first month or so, but that's to be expected. So
now another interesting thing about that, as Xbox makes their push into like cloud gaming, as they have their little Xbox Cloud thing, and you know, obviously their platform is that Game Pass. So people were just saying, you know, this is essentially a PC. Essentially, you could probably at some point download like maybe, I don't, who knows if you'd have to jailbreak it or something, you know what I mean? But essentially, you could maybe download the Game Pass app and use this as your little kind of Game Pass machine, portable Game Pass.
yeah.
Which would be very interesting. Which I already use my phone to do that, so me too. All right, so let's move. Tyler, anything this fall coming that you like?
Yes, I knew I'd be excited for this because EA was hyping it up a bunch because they the Battlefield 5 launch was very disappointing. So the EA developers and leadership was saying, we'll make it up to you, we'll make it up to you. Then they came up with this Battlefield 6 trailer, which showed maps with 128 people playing on multiplayer, and then disasters like tornadoes in the map mid-match and everything. And a lot of people are like, oh, this is so insane. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not the Battlefield I like the tactical, gritty, realistic shooter that like Battlefield 1. So I was a little disappointed with that. And then they came out with another trailer which super tickled my fancy, which is Battlefield Portal. For those of you out there who don't know what Battlefield Portal basically is like similar to like what Halo did with Forge, where you can create your own matches with assets from the game. And I was just researching this more today, and I was finding out insane stuff. Like not only can you set your own unit limitations in the map, you can set the weapons for your players in the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to jump in. I saw the trailer that you had linked us, and I was like, are these medics versus like just like straight mercenaries with knives. And then
Yes.
like you get to the trailer and it's exactly what it is. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Okay.
Yeah, so you can set the weapon limitations on your players. You can set different objectives for how to win. So you can basically make up your own game mode. Most fascinatingly, what I found in my research is you can restrict your players' movement. You can make your players not able to like crouch or prone if you wanted. You can get rid of their heads up display, their crosshairs and everything. So super customizable. The head developer of this game presented to investors and basically said like, this is like reinventing the franchise and in some way potentially first person shooters.
Yeah.
Something I miss about console gaming is as a PC gamer, it's a lot easier to admin servers and set up map rotations and everything. And EA is notorious for like making you pay for stuff like that. I'm guessing this whole Portal thing is like a pay to play type of thing, in the sense that you pay a little extra and you can do this with servers and stuff. But it's something I'm totally gonna dabble with. I'm gonna get this and try it out and see if I like it.
So you talking about that reminds me of when like I would play like StarCraft. You used to be able to do something similar in StarCraft, and that's actually like how we got like the introduction to kind of like MOBA gaming, is because like some of those like custom lobbies were essentially that they were, you get one character and like you have to go through these trials or like whatever custom rules were set up for that lobby. And it was like it was really creative one on the end of the whichever user developed it, and created like these really cool custom rule sets, but it also was like very challenging for the player and individual to like come up with a new way to play a game that they already know how to play. Like hearing that reminds me of like kind of the games that some of the games that I grew up playing, and so I'd be very curious, and like hopefully I know EA loves making money and nickel and diming every possibility they can, but I'd love to see if they just open that up to the market and what the market could create, because there's a lot of creative people out there. Like you can look at what is it? Not Dreams. I'm blanking on the name right now, but there's a development game in PlayStation right now where you can kind of create or recreate games that already exist, and like the fans have just taken it and run with it. So I always love when like companies kind of open up their not the whole source, but just open up the game for the fans to do more with it.
Yeah, I don't play a lot of first person shooters, but like one multiplayer trailer that they showed of Battlefield 2042, it sold me. That was enough. Like I was like, because I like WoW and awesome experiences too, you know what I mean? I play Halo, like, and I'm not a big first person shooter fan, you know what I mean? But like I like good multiplayer, good fun multiplayers, and that looks like a freaking blast. Like I was like, holy crap. Like these dudes like just ascended a skyscraper, you know what I mean, via elevator, jumped off the top of the roof freaking in like wingsuits, and like got caught up in a tornado, like all while like fighting other people. I'm like, this is like freaking madness. Like, and I want to get
Sparta.
yes. Nice. But yeah, like yeah, I'm super excited for Battlefield 2042. Like,
Yeah.
I really want to play it. It really just because I really like big team battle type things. And when Halo comes out later, I will be playing the big team battle on Halo. And even on like Battlefront, like they're huge. Freaking, I forgot what it's called on Battlefront. But the same thing, you know what I mean? But it looks awesome. Well, let's see. You were a big Switch guy, right, Kenny?
Yeah. I grew up on Nintendo. I'll always be a fan of Nintendo, even in their lesser stuff. Like I always like try to find something enjoyable about whatever they're doing.
Anything big coming out on Switch that you're coming for? Just a quick warning. Just a quick warning to you guys. There is a crazy thunderstorm happening, so if I cut out, it's probably my power loss. But
Okay. Shoot. The dang it. Why
Nintendo fan.
yes, The World Ends With You just came out with a sequel. Being a Kingdom Hearts fan, The World Ends With You, like I think they called it like Neo. I haven't picked it up yet. I'm still finishing the original because it came out for DS back in like 2013, and then they remade it and it came out in like 2018 or so. Got to the end. Good game, super playable. Once I beat it, I'll probably jump into the sequel and try that out. As far as anything else that's coming up soon, there's like this. I don't know if it was because of the pandemic last year or what, but it doesn't seem like there's any big like big titles or like anything like set for kind of this holiday season. I know that they're doing the big push with the OLED system, and I might need to be double checked on this, but I don't think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be out by the end of this year. No, but that is going to be the game that tries to push and sell the OLED system, because they're going to go, hey, like, look at how great Breath of the Wild played in 1080. Well, now you can play Breath of the Wild 2 in 4K. So like, while the OLED system's coming out and you get a little bit bigger screen, there's no sort of meat on the bone. The bone just exists. So I need a little bit more meat before like I'm like sold on upgrading the Switch, unless like the Switch Pro happens. And I know Nintendo, some people were frustrated with Nintendo because it felt like kind of a bait and switch because they got their expectations set on a Switch Pro. But I think that this is the first step to a quote unquote Switch Pro.
I would agree. You know, Nintendo, they are frustratingly iterative sometimes, and I know because I'm a Pokemon franchise fan. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Which unfortunately I will be buying the remakes this year. But one thing I'm interested in to get on Switch is because I was rarely. PS4 is the first PlayStation system I've ever owned, and I only play one game on it, so I've completely missed out on the Shin Megami Tensei franchise.
Great franchise.
All right, so yeah, I was in the middle of talking about how I was excited to get into the Megami Tensei franchise, and it's coming out on Switch later this year, and yeah, I really want to I really want to I hear a lot of good things about it, and I really kind of want to get into that.
Yeah, if you're an RPG fan, and especially you saying you're a Pokemon fan, like, highly recommend. That's the cool thing about Nintendo, is that those franchises that have always existed, they're pushing for. Like, Metroid looks really good. Pokemon Snap just came out, and I know Pokemon has the remakes coming out, plus the open world game, and those all look fun, and like they'll sell like hotcakes, no problem. And then like, it's just looking out for the exclusives. Like, hopefully they push for more and more exclusives on the Switch before the end of the year.
All right. Well, any final thoughts, guys, as far as things that we are excited for this? I know there's a lot, you know what I mean? Obviously, we left a couple of even consoles out of the talk, or but it's a loaded talk, and we can always like talk about stuff in future episodes. But yeah, anything we want to just kind of go over before we get out of here, or special notices or anything?
Not for me, but look forward to future gaming with you guys.
For sure.
I'm always down to talk video games. We can talk about them for hours for sure. But to keep it short, like, the biggest thing I think I'm happy about, as somebody who just spent the last month making sure my PS3, my PSP, and my PS Vita still work, is that Sony has opted to not shut down those stores currently. Because those consoles will over time eventually brick themselves if there's no way to verify that they're legitimate. So I'm hoping that Sony continues to keep those stores up and running in some capacity permanently. And I want basically my big thing as a video game person is like trying to preserve like the old school games. Like it's a little bit harder to play older games on current gen consoles or in current capacity anyway. So I'm just hoping that more and more companies find a way to preserve the games we grew up playing so we can play them as adults and share them with the next generation.
Right on. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, to our Frack the Cannon's game talk, or whatever we end up calling this. But yeah, it's been real. It's been fun. And until next time, frack off, everybody.